This is the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. What can I say? Uh, I've been in a tropical storm when I lived on the west coast of Florida about 30 years ago. Um, been in a tropical storm in Southern California. You know what I'm saying? The Florida one was a little more intense as I remember it. It wasn't necessarily catastrophic, but it was, pretty intense. Um, the one in Southern California, I pretty much slept through. I woke up once or twice, went outside, got my feet wet, to let the dog go out for a walk, and then slept through the night, But I will admit, um, one of the most hardcore rock and roll things I've ever seen is that those clips on YouTube with those long-haired, skinny white kids with the American flag out in the middle of an 80 mile per hour wind, with Leonard Skinner playing in the back. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Why doesn't every kid go through that? Uh, I'd rather be wearing a flannel shirt tucked around my waist like kilt like, with a pair of combat boots and some long hair and a thin mustache and beard. Hey, not everybody, grows up hearing the same things. Some whispers in the wind, take us on different trails. Oh, I have seen in my life the river passing by, pass me by, love. We saw the storm and we survived its flood. I've lost everything except for us. On the shore of the other side, will you wait there, love of mine? For I have seen in my life Can you do the same? For if not, my friend, I shall surely drown in the rain. Lord, I have seen pass me by on the side of the river of my life. Hey. Some men build walls. They build cities, bridges meant to last 200 years, you know. Skyscrapers meant to go a mile high. Some men do these things. Some men burn fires. Some men talk politics about things that have nothing to do with anything lasting 200 years. Some men contemplate nothing more than how can I eat my next meal, sleep tonight, wake up tomorrow, and not have lost anything more than I'm losing right now. Some men don't expect to sleep at all tonight. Whatever their little lives entail has come crashing in on them in ways that I will never know. As one person, you can only live so much, you know, in a way it pisses you off. Why can't I swim with killer whales? Well, at the same time, imagine why did this not happen to you? I hate to be that way, but I have to remind myself at times, hey, Oliver, you know, Army veteran with 10 fingers and 10 toes, and I can play a guitar and talk rambling, you know, half this gibberish might get me arrested in some countries simply because I say it. As a soldier, it was a unique situation as a soldier where I could go through a war and never pull a trigger. Was I blessed? Like I said, I've never had to deal with that in my life. What did I have to do, when I was 19 years old? Oversee, hey, Uncle so and so, what did you do when you were in the service? Me, I flipped French toast and sausage and worked with locals and drank beer and had chocolate and, yeah, dated pretty girls and danced until 3 o'clock in the morning and traveled the world, paid for it with my shoulders and back. What can I say? But there are certain things I didn't do. But every day I was face to face with men who had to. That was their chosen profession. To go out and kick indoors and throw grenades and, kill or be killed. To make split-second decisions that would affect the rest of their life, the rest of the lives of the people around them. And because it's been so long since I've been in the military, I can honestly say, if you're ever put into a certain situation in which you think, wow, this is really unique and da 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 da, the chances that 20 years later somebody's going to come knock on your door and remind you of the time that you did something, they're just going to casually let you know, hey, I don't care what you're doing today, we just wanted to stop by and say hi. So, like I said, in my opinion, to take a human life is not the question. It's not a question of, can you take a human life? Would you? What would it take for you to take a human life? If you really had to, could you? These aren't really questions that I try to contemplate too much. I think I've come to that answer. The question is, what would you do to not do something else? See, when my option was, I could have stayed at that movie theater, uh, selling popcorn for minimum wage, and rented, shared that room with my friend for the next 3 years while I went to LVN school on a student loan so I could make twice as much as minimum wage. In a society where that wouldn't get me what I wanted. Or I could go join the military and, with my juvenile record and all, and put it all on the table and say, hey, take me in, and as the song said, you can take all of it, just, you know, there's a part of us that wants to hold on to the best. We want to come back from that and be able to proudly tell people, I'm a U.S. Army veteran. This is what it got me in life. I can do this, I can do that, I understand this, I know how to think like that. So I know that Martin Luther King himself even said that too much pride is a negative thing. But the word in itself is a negative thing. To have any pride is a negative thing. But when you're trying to lift yourself or others out of abject, disillusionment with the way things are, then you have to take pride in yourself first. And that might cause more enemies than friends, but not every man stands. And when he speaks, the nation doesn't listen. Hey, what can I say? So even thinking of MLK at times, even thinking of Bob Marley at times, even thinking of Kobe Bryant at times, I don't know why I naturally associate minority struggles with black representation. It's just the way I grew up. The minorities were always represented by blacks, politically, you know. So at this stage, who represents me in Congress? I don't know. Who represents me? Who represents me? Well, you know what I'm saying. If I do it right, then I represent myself with every interaction that I have. And I try to express that the nation right now is suffering. We're in an economical down situation. Da 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 da. And if you ever thought you ever had an enemy, you might want to think that people that are trying to disrupt and destroy the system might be part of your enemy. Hey, what can I say? I mean, I like shopping at stores. I like paying with dollars. I like, the fact that, American women can choose to cut their hair certain ways and wear, sleeveless shirts. I myself, you know, tried to cover myself. But hey, if that's the way you want to feel the sun on your skin, and if it makes you feel healthy, and in the end, if after 50 years of living like that, you've got a good body and a good brain, and you can still eat food and enjoy, if you can live however you live, and at the end of it you're happy and satisfied, then you're doing what others are not. So that's the whole thing. Look, good health is vain. It's vanity. So trying to improve yourself is vanity. And other people vain. They don't want to see you improve. They don't want to see you get better. They don't want to see you get up. They don't want to see you get out. They don't want to see you meet people. They don't want to see you do anything other than what, you know. So that's how I look at it. What I've always wanted, I wanted a life of purpose. So what did I do? I quit my job at a movie theater and became a soldier. Hey, the football, the wrestling, the weightlifting, the fucking hiking through the mountains with 2 days worth of food in a sleeping bag when you're 15 years old. Did any of that have anything to do with that? While everybody's busy judging on such superficial things as how I look in tattoos and the words I say, does anybody think that far back? Oh, yesterday. 35, 45 years ago. Same kid, still trying to make a dollar. Best thing I ever did was not do a single thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like I told my psychiatrist, fuck it, I've been around the world. What can I say? You know what I'm saying? East Coast beat.